Okay.
Well, welcome to the podcast today with my friend Pete and Patrick. Hope you enjoy.
Yeah, I can see you, Pete. Right, I'm starting it now.
Bye.
Right, it's
Yes, Henrik.
I was just asking a first question. So,
Yes.
what was it like growing up with your condition?
What was it like growing up with my condition? Oh, well, when I was growing up, I found myself slightly isolated.
Okay.
Because I wasn't really included in like other classes, and so for activities and stuff.
Yeah. So what is your condition, Patrick? Then.
Cerebral palsy.
Yeah. So, how does your condition affect your family and friends?
Does it affect my family and friends?
Or I could skip the question. I could go on a different one.
So like I will have a think. Does it affect my family and friends? I'm not sure really. I suppose they worry a bit more about me,
Yeah.
but I've not really thought about it a lot.
Okay, fair enough. I'll just ask the next question. Are
Okay.
most places you go to accessible?
Yes, 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 all of them, the places I go to are
But I mean, like round.
fairly accessible.
But I mean, like round the UK, or is it just?
Yes, I've been. Well, every where I've been around the UK is is so pretty accessible. Yes, Henry.
Yeah. Right. This is going to be a bit of a weird question, but I hope it's not too
Okay.
weird. Is it hard dating being disabled?
Is it the hard dating being this being is it hard to date? Yes, it is.
Yeah, especially I think.
Yes, I'm not sure why it is exactly. I just
I think
find it a little bit hard.
I think it's hard in dating because they think some people just get scared of the condition when we're all right, really. But
Yeah.
I'll ask you the next question.
Okay.
What what is it? Is it what 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 is a common thing people do that annoys you? For example, when people talk to your carer instead of you.
Mm. Well, it isn't so much of a problem now because live on almost on my own. But,
Yeah. But I mean, if someone came up to you and just said something like stupid,
yes, when I was younger,
yeah,
the waiter used to ask my mum
yeah.
what I wanted.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's just
Yes, so for food or for
yeah.
game. So for a meal, yeah, really, but it doesn't happen
So
anymore.
okay, I've read all my questions.
Okay.
So the last question to you, Patrick.
Okay.
What can we do to change people's perception of disability? For example, when people get scared or nervous talking to you, we are okay, really, but just what you think, really. If it's a difficult question, don't worry. Just ask it.
Well, I suppose I just got to be open, so minded about it all, really.
Yeah.
Really, and know that they may need to be a little more patient or something.
I think what is getting people perception of people getting scared of us. We're actually nice people. We're just not scary people that go up to people and just scare them. But I think I think that's all. I think that's all my questions, Patrick. Thank you very much. But I'll pause. How are you, Pete? How are you doing?
Not too bad. How are you?
I'm very well. What have you been up to recently? What have you been up to recently?
I've been focusing on my uni work most of the time.
Okay.
Focusing on university and a bit of bocce training when I can in between.
Oh, I'm so looking forward to doing bocce when this is all over, and I can see you at competitions.
The competitions ended in March when the lockdown came, the first one, and there's nothing on until they say middle of next year, so May, June, but I don't believe that. So yeah, right. We'll see.
So I'll ask you the first question. So, what was it like growing up with your condition?
It was actually quite normal. I didn't think about it at the time. All of the students in the classes that I had all accepted me for who I was. I had to anyway. So, but yeah, I mean, the staff didn't, take notice of it really. I was in a deaf unit for primary school.
Yeah.
So, it wasn't really that much different. They included me in all of the activities and school trips and everything, so it was alright. It was only when I got to secondary school that a lot of things changed, as people would know. It was actually alright, but it wasn't until secondary school where the disability got exposed, and I couldn't go on as many school trips or as many things with the mainstream school that I could have maybe been a part of. And of course, when we went to Toulouse after secondary school, it was quite an interesting, wasn't it, Emily? Toulouse.
Yeah.
But not being controversial here, Toulouse was a great college to be at, and of course, him, my best mate, and I met him there, and that's good. But apart from that, it was rubbish. No, don't say that. Cut that bit out. But Toulouse was very good in terms of letting everyone have the same equal opportunities to everyone else.
Well, I think I had another question. I think probably explaining to other people that will watch this video and like know what Toulouse is. Toulouse is a school and college that helps people with conditions like ours, and it's for education purposes. But carry on anyway. So what? I think there's another question on my thing. What did Toulouse help you? What did when you left? What could they have done more?
Any Toulouse staff that are watching this, please don't take my word for it. I mean, before I came to Toulouse, I wasn't aware there was any disabled schools, you know, any disabled focus schools, if you like. I mean, all of the schools I went to before were all mainstream schools, so, you know, able-bodied people in them. And Toulouse popped up in secondary school, and I said, oh, it's a really good disabled boarding college. And, you know, they do fantastic work. And, you know, at the end of my secondary school, I was really into bocce at that point. And of course, Toulouse is a massive fellow of bocce. You know, almost all of the students at Toulouse do bocce anyway. So that's quite good to be able to progress my bocce there. Toulouse had to be obviously more independent. That's their main ambition, that everyone to be as independent as possible. Everything was brilliant from the outside, and when I got in Toulouse, looking into Toulouse from the inside, it was quite good. It was very good in terms of the lessons. I was at Alton College half the time, mind.
Yeah.
I was part-time in the IKC with Jerry and with Henry for the second year. Toulouse did amazingly well, apart from one particular department, and that comes with everything, and that is the houses. So you've got 5 houses for boarding students, and the house that I was on, which I'm not going to disclose here, wasn't very. I mean, I had our reports, so I had everyone's reports of their disability and what their routine is and everything. Yeah. But my house, they weren't very. Most of the staff there was quite good. It was only a certain few of them that didn't follow what I wanted them to do, and they were sticking to the book, which was, you know, what they were employed to do. But at the end of the day, I said to them, to their face quite a lot of the time, and I said, I'm over the age of 18, do what I ask you to do, not by following what the book tells you. Because most of the time, everything that was in the book by, 3 months after I started was already out of date, sort of thing. Yeah. But they didn't update it very much. And that's where the problem started, really. But apart from that issue, everything else was brilliant.
So what about like the transition from when you left? What was it like then?
Oh, from Toulouse to uni.
So when you left Toulouse completely.
Okay. So I had a brilliant transition team under Sarah Stuart Nibbs, a little call out there. She's amazing, absolutely brilliant. So at the end of my first year at Toulouse, they said to me, what are your future ideas? Someone suggested university, and I went, no, you will not see me at uni. No, not doing uni. You will never see me at uni. End of story. And they said, go for an open day. So I went, oh, I'll just tell you what, I go to an open day. I went to an open day at Solent at Southampton. And I went there for an open day to shut them up. But at the end of it, it was actually quite nice. It was quite decent. I went back and I said, I'm gonna give it a go. I'm going to apply. And they went, are you feeling all right?
Yeah.
And so the transition started from the end of my first year, and obviously the second year at Toulouse were based around the transition from Toulouse to university. And you had to do all the UCAS forms, and of course the staff will help you do that. You're not on your own there, but the transition needs to help you with that anyway. But it was UCAS forms, it was details, it was what relevant courses are you doing now that would be relevant to the course you're going to do at uni.
Yeah.
The accommodation, etc., etc. There were a lot of blocks and forms to fill in, and then when that was complete, it just seemed pretty sailing. It was going really well. But the one thing I will say is Toulouse have a very good relationship with Solent. They know Solent quite well. Solent knows Toulouse quite well, and it seems a bit disappointing that Toulouse only have that relationship with Solent and not with any other university. Because I know a student, I'm not going to say his name on here, but he's now at Wales. He's now at Wales doing a degree somewhere in Wales. He was quite frustrated that Toulouse was telling him about Solent. So the only suggestion I would make is for Toulouse to build relationships with other universities. But of course, Solent's fantastic, and I've been there 3 years now.
I think my transition was, I think it was all right. I was like, oh yeah, it's all going to be all right. And then it wasn't, because I feel like I needed more support, and it felt quite hard. I was getting quite depressed. I was getting quite down about, I've left all my friends at all other places. And I think it's been very hard to, keep in contact with people. Pete, if there's any questions you want to ask me what I've said.
Well, the transition for you was probably slightly easier, Henry, because when you come home from Toulouse at the summer holidays or Easter or Christmas or whatever, it was quite similar to that transition, wasn't it, for you?
Yeah. I think going back onto the question about, I said about your condition, I should probably say about when I was growing up and that. So I think when I was 7, I was diagnosed with Duchenne. I think I remember one time when I said to my mum and to one of my family, say, I don't really want to walk anymore, and then that just happened, and I was living this condition for a few years, and I think I've got used to it. I think it was quite worrying for my family, not worrying, but they were just worried about the future, which, I don't really want to think about the future. I just want to live my life to the full and enjoy. That's...
Did chores help you in any way with the, because obviously when you go home to stay at home and do something nearby home or whatever, when you're transitioning about 3 years ago, did that help you with your PAs or something like that? Because I know when you left, you had quite a few PAs already, and you had to sort of plan ahead and get those PAs in order to do night shifts, evening shifts, morning shifts.
Yeah, I sorted all that out, and it was. I just wish I had more support before I left. I felt like I was vulnerable, and in my opinion, I think I would want to have stayed another year, but I don't know what I would do. But I would have wanted to do media, really.
Did you ask if you wanted to do another year?
They asked, but I feel like I regret it though. I feel like I regret.
Yeah, well, I asked to do an extra year actually at Chills, surprisingly enough, and the Chills said, well, not Chills, someone in Chills said, I don't think your council will, take it, because obviously Chills cost quite a lot of money from the council for you to go there. That shouldn't really be a problem for most of you. But for my council, my local council where I live, I was quite tight with their money at the time, and I still are now, to be honest with you. And they wouldn't fund it. They wouldn't fund another year. So I had to go.
I'm going to ask another question now, Pig. What does your condition, how does your condition affect your family and friends?
So I didn't really explain my condition. CP, same as Patrick.
Yeah. I think I should have asked before, but
okay. And it didn't really affect anything. Well, when I was quite young, I had to accept it because that was me. But when I got older, when I got older, about secondary school time, that's when I realised there was a difference between how people react to you, and because obviously secondary school was the time where you will learn most things about people, and you will learn a lot more about the public or people around you. Because when you're young, your brain isn't fully functioned, and when you're in secondary school, you learn a lot more about life, really. And people started treating me a little bit differently at secondary school, but you don't need negative people in your life. And of course, Toulouse, everyone was disabled there, so it was sort of a level playing field. No one was really particularly mean, apart from one student, which I'm not going to name on here.
That's all right.
But that was really it. And then family, everything had to be accessed, ramps, whatever, lifts, that sort of thing. And it's only when some of my family moves away or goes to a different house, and I have to make sure there are accessibility in the place. That doesn't. I'm not really close to that particular sort of family, so it doesn't really bother me really that much. But now, I just wish people see us and not this disability, as I'm sure you'll agree, Henry.
I agree. I'm going to have to stop this because it's saying remaining time meeting.
Yeah, you didn't ask anything about sport though, very quickly.
Yeah, you can, yeah. So there's more questions you need to ask me quick. Hang on, let me stop it and start it again.
if you want.
Yeah, 2 seconds. Right, now we're recorded. Right, let's talk about sport then. How important is sport for people with disabilities? Did you not hear my question?
What question?
So let's talk about how does sport impact people with disabilities?
So my sport, boccia.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard of it, it's like long bowls or something that your grandparents would play.
Yeah.
About 18 years old or something. So the sport is mostly around cerebral palsy or people with MD like Henry.
Yeah.
And it's a sport that isn't just for disabled people. Anyone can play it. But when it comes to competitions and the real serious stuff, you then need a disability to play. And I was introduced to boccia in secondary school, so year 7, back in 2009, 11 years ago. And yeah, I got hooked on it. Didn't hear about boccia, didn't know any disabled sports until secondary school. And then, of course, we had explained already about Toulouse and their impact with boccia. And they've done tremendously well. But Avon School was the sort of the start of my career in boccia. So.
Yeah. So right, my next question is, are most places you go to accessible? Like around the UK?
Yeah. So I wouldn't say most places are, but I would say that most sport venues and most hotels are wheelchair friendly. They've got lifts and ramps and that. But when you go travelling for boccia and everywhere else, you need those facilities. But I would say for my local area, it's going to be on YouTube now, Dad. Sorry about that. No. Stop. Oh no, sorry. I was just going to wait for Dad to get out so it's not on YouTube. Sorry.
This is alright.
Sorry. Hang on a minute.
It's fine.
It's his birthday today, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so carry on. So, I would say places in my local area, or in Southampton, or any big city in the UK are not that accessible.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
You've got grade 1 or grade 2 buildings that can't be changed. They can't change the building, they can't rebuild.
I think there's a lot of things that they need to make accessible for people like us.
Yeah, they need to do a lot more.
Yeah.
And the government haven't tackled it yet, or the councils haven't done anything about it yet.
Yeah.
Do it now.
Yeah. All right, the next question is it hard to date being disabled?
Is it hard to what?
Date being disabled.
Well, it's hard to date and it's hard to have sex.
I think for me, I think it's very hard for me to, go on dating sites and just go on dates. But I feel like, they're just gonna get scared of my condition and what it entails.
Have you tried Tinder?
Yeah, it's rubbish.
Okay. well, I would say my dating world with women are pretty much at the moment. But what I would say is I've tried Tinder, obviously, for obvious reasons. But I do put myself forward with my, on, on Tinder you allow pictures and that to go on your profile. And I put my wheelchair on there. So people know straight away that I'm disabled. I'm not, what's the word? I'm not catfishing them. I'm not luring them into false facilities for them to think, oh, I'm not disabled. I put my disability out there as a sort of disclaimer. Listen, everything works. I'm just disabled. So I've only had one girlfriend prior to this, so for about 6 weeks. So I haven't had much of that experience to answer that question fully, but I would say that at the moment it is quite hard.
I think it's changing people's minds about, it's all right to talk to us. We're not. What is?
How professional is this podcast, by the way?
No, it's you not being professional.
I didn't say. Okay.
Right. What?
Any more questions?
I'm trying to answer questions.
Go on then.
What is a common thing people do that annoys you? For example, when people talk to your carer instead of you.
Oh, that's the worst. That's the worst. Thankfully, I don't particularly need a PA for much stuff. One of the most independent.
Surely you've had things said to you because you're in a wheelchair and that. I've had someone, come up to my carer and not talk to me, which is
hello,
I'm here.
Yeah, well, I don't think that people, when they see a wheelchair, they go, "Oh, here's a retarded person coming along." But the main thing is they will probably hadn't had much customers or much people that are disabled come in, or they haven't had the relevant training before they start to how to treat disabled people. So, because normally there's a load of disabled people around, but the majority of the UK is not disabled people. So they know how to treat them. They just need to know how they need to be trained, and they need to know how to treat and talk to disabled people, which they probably haven't had yet. But that shouldn't be a problem. It's just common sense to people how to interact with disabled people, and that's where the problems
It's annoying sometimes. They just talk to the other person and they don't talk to you.
Oh yeah, can you imagine them just going down on my knees and going, "Hello, what do you want to do today?"
I've had that before, and that is just so annoying.
Oh, it's hilarious for me to watch it though.
I think I do laugh under my breath, but I just don't want to laugh. But I probably would, to be honest.
Yeah, but I'm quite forward with my words, aren't I? So I just go, "Oh, excuse me, I'm not a midget. I'm like you. Get up," sort of thing. And then they turn up, I'm a midget, so I have to, sorry.
Right. My last question. What can we do to change people's perception of disabled people? For example, when people get scared or nervous talking to you, we are okay, really.
That goes back to the stereotypes of what people think disabled is.
No, but people's perceptions what I just said. That people get nervous. Like people
Yes.
get nervous.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Worse.
Yeah, the only thing we can do to sort of break down that barrier between the two things that you just said, it's it's mainly about having the confidence to break the ice, sort of thing. Normally, when I meet people, I introduce myself and I say, "Oh, do you run?" And they go, "Yeah, I run." And I say, "Yeah, so do I." But obviously, I don't. So that already breaks the barrier, that already breaks the ice to say, you know, I'm okay, you know, it's, you know, I mean, I started with a joke normally for the conversation to flow properly rather than being awkward, you know, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So a joke goes a long way for me, really.
Yeah.